Hey, it's Chris Duval, your Austin area realtor. I'm going to give you a quick update on the Kyle Buda markets, and I'm going to do this pretty quick. I've done this in the past before, and I kind of ramble on for a long time, so I find this stuff pretty fascinating. But I'm going to make it a little easier on you and go a little bit quicker. So we have about 550 houses on the market right now. That's up quite a bit from the last time I did this. Last time I did this, it was about 350, I think there was, maybe around 400. So that's creeping into, if we're selling about 200 houses a month, which is kind of where we're at, that puts the inventory around 3 months. So that means, you ever hear realtors say that? They'll say, how much inventory do we have? We have about 3 months inventory, just a little bit under maybe. That's a pretty normal interest. That's a pretty normal amount of inventory. Back in the crazy time of 2021, 2022, we were down to 2 weeks inventory, a month inventory, and that's really that's really low and terrible for the buyer. But now there's things are slowing down, but they're not dead. People are, oh my God, things are taking 2 to 3 months to sell. That's normal. Houses take about 2 or 3 months to sell. Some can go faster, some take longer. Really desirable houses are still going pretty quickly. I just had a house sell in 5 days. So, and it was a pretty nice little house, but some houses are going quick still. As long as you price correctly, and it's a pretty desirable type of house. The kind of run-of-the-mill houses are taking a little bit longer, but there's still a market for them. They are selling. So let's take a look at the pending houses right now. Just kind of give you an idea. Pending houses, there are 278. So we're coming up from that 200. Most of these will probably close pretty soon. So we'll probably hit around 200, I would think, again, houses sold. But I'm going to look right in the middle of the days on the market at the median. I like to do the median because it doesn't get thrown off by the houses that are sitting on the market for a long time. Every once in a while you have a house that's been on the market for a year, and that kind of throws the average off. So I'm going to look right in the middle of the numbers, which is around 138, somewhere around there. And we're at 38 days on the market. So last time I did this, it was about, I think it was around 20 days. So it's gone up a little bit. But as I said, this time of year as well slows down a little bit. But also, things are kind of getting back to normal. So 38 days is kind of normal. One thing I do want to look really quick is to show you houses that have closed in the last 2 months. Let's look at the listing price versus the closing price. Back when I was doing this 6 months ago, and 6 months to a year and 6 months ago, things were going way over asking price. Now that's not happening. We can see just in the random listing prices that I'm bringing up. These aren't in any order. I think they're in order of days on the market, which I really don't want to do that either, because houses that go quicker sometimes get the best prices. So let's just look at listing prices in general. So the lower listing prices seem like they're going all under. There's one that's 1,000 over. That's pretty normal. So you pretty much just call that listing price. Most ones that I see on this page are under asking price or listing price. Same thing. I only see one here. There might be another one. Don't hold me, don't hold me to it. I'm just kind of scanning through this quickly. Here's one that went over, and that's 5,000 over, and that's a normal amount to go over. 2019 and before. Last year and the year before, that would be a low offer. If I go through and kind of get into the threes, we can see that they're still going under. If you can see right there, under or at asking price and under. I don't see hardly any that are over. I'm gonna boost this up and get into like the 600,000 range and see if that's acting the same. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes the $600,000 houses, which are typically the nicer houses, nicer neighborhoods, hence the price, they still might be going over. But as I'm cruising through this, I'm still seeing prices going under. Okay, so here's one that I see that went over 4,000. Again, nothing to really write home about. Under, asking. I mean, these are all. So even at this price range, things are going. This one went way under. So this one was way overpriced, or something. I'm not sure why. I mean, that's $140,000 under. So don't know about that one. Let's get towards the end here and see. In the 7 range, we're still getting under. This one looks like it went for 22 over. So that's the biggest one I've seen. So that's a little over, 9,000 over. That's the biggest one I've seen over is that 22. Oh, and here's another one. That went for 30,000 over. So, there are houses out there that are, this one was really pretty low price, Nature View Loop. That's kind of low for that area, so that's probably why it went for a little over. But there's one that went for, they're trying to get 1.2 million. They got 840,000. So you do have a lot of people that were really trying to push the value of their homes, and they're just not getting them, anymore because the interest rates are higher. They're not super high, but they're high enough with these high prices to make your mortgage go up quite a bit. But if you are thinking about buying or selling, especially if you're thinking about buying, definitely I would get in right now, because two things are going to, one of three things could happen, right? Interest rates could stay the same and prices probably stay the same. They might go down just a hair, probably not. They're probably going to kind of sit because there's a lot of demand still. And so good houses they're not gonna drop 100,000 all of a sudden, unless they're like one of these houses like this $1.2 million house that was just probably way overpriced in the first place. That's why it's dropped. So houses that are overpriced are going to come down, but the market value is probably not going to drop on most of your houses. That was one of the things that could happen. It could stay the same. Two is the interest rates could get worse, so you'd be in a worse off position. Or three, interest rates could drop and then prices will go up if that happens. That's the reason the prices went up, because interest rates were so low that everybody that had any bit of money was like, I'm going to get another house. You had a lot of investors buying second houses. People don't do that when the interest rates are a little bit higher. They do it when they're super low. So, they have this super low mortgage rate, and then they can turn around and have rent, and they can cover their rent. With a higher mortgage rate, it's harder, because the rent hasn't caught up quite a bit. It has gone up quite a bit, but it hasn't caught up in many cases. So people don't want to pay in certain areas, pay $3,000 to live in this house. The next door neighbor is paying $1,500 because they're, the guy, when the guy bought it, it was for a low interest rate. So that's what I recommend. If you can afford to make the payments now, it's best to get the prices while they're still low. Get in there, and the interest rates are relatively low. They're not as low as they were. Get in, and if the interest rates do happen to drop, which no one thinks they're going to, but let's say that they do, because nobody really can predict it. Let's say they drop again, then you refinance. But the prices of that house, that same house that you bought, is going to go way up, and the competition is going to be way more. People are going to be overbidding and going crazy, just like it was last year. And it's not fun, believe me. So if I had to buy this year, I'd buy as soon as possible, because right now, this time of year, you have way less competition. There's plenty of houses on the market, so you have a lot to choose from. There's not a lot of pressure to go into a house and then buy it that day. You usually have a few days, a few weeks to look at more houses and then go back to it. So there's, and then also the seller is paying the regular closing prices that they used to pay. Last year they were paying way more. So definitely a great time to buy. Definitely not a bad time to sell either, because the interest rates, if they get higher, buying power is going to go down. So, and nobody really thinks the interest rates are going to go down. So if you have to sell, it's not a bad time to sell either. Sometimes you don't have a choice. You want to get out of town. You got a new job. You got to sell. It's not a bad time to sell. The demand is still out there. You still have 150 people moving to this area a day. So if you need to buy or sell, please give me a call. There's your update.